Hello, BookTube. I recently saw a message that Olive at a Book Olive left on Twitter expressing her disappointment with the new version of the YouTube Creator Studio, which is rolling out in beta now on the site. Those of you who have YouTube channels will have seen it already. Olive expressed her disappointment in that it's the new studio setup seems very much to push people towards emphasizing immediate gratification, immediate audience involvement, and shunting to one side the kinds of videos that usually need longer to find an audience, or that grow audiences over a longer period of time. Thoughtful, constructed book reviews, for instance, in the BookTube world, are videos that notoriously get fewer views as soon as they're published, but grow in viewer count over time, unlike, for instance, a Friday Reads video for one particular week or something like that, that you can't expect that anyone 2 years from now is going to be interested in it at all. That's a real thing, and there's other content like that on YouTube that would be sort of softly penalized the same way by this new Creator Studio. But when I saw Olive's message, I had not yet looked at Creator Studio, and I have since done that. I have not only watched a whole bunch of current tutorials and walkthroughs of it, many of which for some odd reason are in Hindi, so that's been a blast from the past. That's been brushing the rust off a certain part of my brain. But I've also looked at it myself. I've gone over and around it myself, examined all the little toggles and features and whatnot, because in no time at all, this isn't going to be beta. In no time at all, you're not going to have any option but to use this. And these things they might be a little sloppy in their initial rollout, but there's an enormous amount of corporate thought that goes into their general shape before they're ever made public. An enormous amount of thought about what we want to do and where we want to push the people who are using our platform. As there's very much an intent here to shepherd, rather than just to let things be and give you more of a greater variety of tools to do your own thing. And boy, oh boy, when you look at the new Creator Studio, several things become obvious right away. And one of them is, it isn't just immediate gratification. It isn't just, here's a way to increase, the number of hits that you get on a video in the first day. Here's a way to build up hype for it. Here's a way to engage with your audience with previews and tags and whatnot. It isn't just that. It's also the back end of that. This new iteration of Creator Studio is very much geared towards, and also very much assumes that you are already exactly the kind of quote-unquote content creator that we don't really have many of on YouTube, on BookTube 2.0. You have the channels that are 30,000 subscribers and over, who have professional ring lights that make them look stoned all the time. They have canned content. They have tons and tons of sponsored content. They don't ever even look at their comments field, much less go down and engage in the comments. They do sponsored giveaways. They do product placements. They are the first wave of BookTube. If we stick just to BookTube, the first wave very much wanted to make either a career out of doing this, or make BookTube into a launch pad for an actual career. And it's no a coincidence, therefore, that probably 80% of those original, that kind of original BookTuber, all have book deals now. BookTube was never the main point. That was obvious right from the beginning. The minute you, as a BookTuber, say, no, the comments field is full of vermin. The minute you say something like that, the minute you get on your BookTube channel when no one in the world knows who you are, and you say, I'm sorry, I'm just too busy to interact in the comments field. I'm just too busy to do that. Much less the handful of BookTubers, fortunately still a small handful, that actually pay someone to interact in the comments field under their name. Once you reach that point, you reveal that BookTube was never a communal thing for you. You were only using the platform to do something else, to enrich yourself. And I guess there's nothing inherently wrong with that. There's no written contract that says that BookTube has to be more honest or more genuine than the rest of YouTube. But it feels like a betrayal to me. And BookTube 2.0, this informal new iteration of BookTube that we all have, tends not to do that. The channels that come along that do that bounce around and give all sorts of canned patter and say more about this in a moment, and then you get an introduction like this was a TV show. Those are very few. Mercifully, there are very few such channels. And the really sobering thing about this new creator studio is that that's the kind of channel they want. That's the kind of channel that this whole new creator studio is geared to make. It's geared to facilitate that. And it doesn't really seem to care about channels that don't want to be that. In fact, I think when you look around this system, you could draw one stronger inference, which is that they don't approve. That YouTube does not approve of those kind of channels and would rather that everyone have skin in the game, that everyone be hustling to make their channel the next thing to pop. All that kind of terminology, I can easily imagine it in the planning sessions for this new Creator Studio suite. And that's got me thinking. That's thrown me into being the hypersensitive zillennial 20-something snowflake that I am. It's thrown me into an existential tizzy. Thinking about what YouTube is. YouTube is the platform on which BookTube can exist. It's where we all get to do what we do. I have made a lot of videos, and I have come to love the experience of having this conversation every day. And the more I thought about the new Creator Studio and all that it implies, the more I kept thinking about television. And the more I thought about television, the more I realized that lots and lots of people watch television, but almost no one has a television show. And you can't just have a television show. You have to make sure, you have to go through an enormous number of steps even to get on local access. But to have a network television show, even a small network, you need pitches, you need luck, you're dancing in the streets if you get approved, you need tons and tons of startup and seed money, you need a business plan going out 5 years, you need a target audience and a whole bunch of gimmicks and a way to differentiate you from everyone else who's doing what you're doing. And boy, we're probably a couple of years off, but once I started thinking that way about this new Creator Studio, I realized that YouTube is television. It has supplanted normal network television. It is the new network television. And once you start thinking about it that way, you realize we are in the Wild West days of that platform, and that those days are numbered. You can see it in a minute. Right now, YouTube's business model, if you want to put it that way, YouTube sort of grew by agglomeration. So there's a business model doesn't completely describe what's going on. But right now, we all make videos, speaking for a minute to the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of BookTube creators, many of whom I know or have interacted with in some way or another, quite a few of whom I watch. We all make videos right now, and even if you monetize your videos, you are making a paltry fraction, a tiny fraction of what your videos bring in to YouTube. Right now, we are just giving all of that clout and money to a gigantic corporation. And we're doing it knowingly, and we're doing it because the side effect that we get in exchange for that is community with each other. And we just make the decision. I make the decision. You, in one way or another, even people who monetize their channels have made the decision, okay, I know there's a systemic injustice going on here. I know that I am being taken advantage of. But I'm willing to do it for this. For what I get. I'm willing to do it, where I wouldn't under other circumstances. I wouldn't do it under other circumstances. I wouldn't spend an hour a week, 2 hours a week, however long it is, for instance, writing copy for a company to use, watching them use it to generate hundreds of millions of dollars in ad revenue, and getting from that only, a pat on the head and congratulations that we're using your copy. No, if you were in that situation, you would want a cut of that money, a large cut of that money. Your words are not replaceable. They would have to find someone else or do it themselves. We are creating the enormously complex and varied ecosystem of YouTube every day. YouTubers are creating and sustaining that ecosystem without profiting from it at all. And that grievance has its exact counterpart, I would imagine, in the offices of YouTube, where I imagine the conversation has been had. Yes, these people are uploading tons and tons of content. Yes, it keeps eyeballs on YouTube, and yes, we profit obscenely from that, but we need server farms. Whole states worth of server farms to support all this stuff. It's one thing for us to support, a vacuous idiot just sort of sitting in front of a camera and just going on about his day, provided, or even if he happens to be called Day. It's one thing to support something like that if he has millions of subscribers. Then it's worth it. But what about these little channels way down at the other end of the spectrum, these people with fuzzy laptop webcams, no editing, no special effects of any kind, no planning, no scripting, no monetization, just sort of chatting once a week on their bed, in their bedroom, about, well, for instance, books on BookTube, but there's plenty of other things too. When you look at YouTube, you see a landscape in which there are a relatively small number of huge earners and a vast sea of people who executives in boardroom meetings at YouTube could easily say, this is deadweight. This is a huge amount of bandwidth, a huge amount of upkeep that we are providing so that these people can do this, and they're making us virtually no money. There are two sides of that argument, to look at that landscape. And the more I looked at this beta studio, this new studio that's going to be the lay of the land by the end of the year, the more I realized this could easily be just one in a long and premeditated chain of steps for YouTube to do away with that. Right now, YouTube's business model could easily just get rid of everybody who isn't making the platform large amounts of money. Right now, in other words, YouTube has its network TV stars, a large number of them, and a large number that are grooming in the lower tiers of, 1 million subscribers instead of 10 million subscribers. YouTube has a large, large number of those people and doesn't need the rest of us. That is just a bug. That is just a feature of the conglomeration nature of the network, of the platform, which was never meant to be what it is now. It was never meant to be a gigantic juggernaut, and it is. It struck me, in other words, that YouTube is slowly but steadily walking its way towards becoming network TV. And that made me wonder about where that leaves the rest of us. Where does that leave the rest of us? It made me wonder what YouTube is for you. Whether you make YouTube videos, BookTube videos or not. What is YouTube for you? Is YouTube TV for you? Do you find that you watch far more YouTube than you watch anything else, whether it's cable TV or network TV or whatever? And also, in the specific level, naturally I thought about my own channel because I love doing this. And the idea that with this new Creator Studio, I am going to be reminded every day that I'm doing it wrong. That every day I'm going to be subtly or not so subtly told, well, you could be maximizing viewers, you could be getting the maximum number of eyeballs on these videos, and you're not doing it. Looking at that and thinking, okay, now in summer of 2019, the implication is you could be doing more and you're not. It's easy to imagine that in the summer of 2020, it will be, you could be doing more, and since you're not, I'm afraid these features are no longer available to you, or our site is not available to you anymore. You're not allowed to make a TV show of your own and have it air on NBC during prime time or at any other time of the 24-hour day. It seems easily extrapolatable to me that in very short order, YouTube will start to say, either you, quote-unquote, pull your weight, or you don't get to use this platform. And that made me think about myself, about this channel. So I want to know, this is a little bit of an odd video, and I won't make it go on forever, but I want to know two things. One, what do you use YouTube for? What is YouTube for you? Do you watch it every day? Do you watch a lot of it every day? Do you watch it like you once watched your TV with the antennas and the network programming and all that sort of stuff, the favorites, the second tier of favorites, the people you hate watch? Do you watch it that way? Do you use it for do-it-yourself stuff? Do you hardly watch it at all? And the second thing I want to ask is about this channel. I know I have asked before in the past. I've said that I don't know why anybody watches this channel, and I have said that over and over, more and more aggrieved, and then finally I sort of made my peace with it on a philosophical level and said, okay, I'm just going to assume this is like the mystery of the Trinity. I'm not going to ask anymore why people watch this channel. It doesn't seem to me like more than a handful of people should. A couple of friends, maybe a couple of industry people in the publishing industry, maybe, but other than that, it just doesn't seem... this is a channel, a poorly filmed, not edited, not scripted channel in which a crusty old coot talks mostly about books that aren't out yet. That does not strike me as a channel that anyone would watch or get any value from, and yet I know that people do because I'm in contact with a lot of you all the time now. And I'm not actually asking why anybody would watch this channel. I'm not actually asking that. I'm asking a kind of variation on that question, a variation of the other question, which is, what is this channel to you? Not necessarily why you watch it, but what role does it fill? What do you use it for? Do you use it for, a browser? I'm browsing new books. Do you use it for Frida updates? Do you use it for... I don't even know. I'm wondering about that, and the reason that I'm wondering about it is kind of preemptively defensive, because I'm easily imagining a time not too far away when I might be called upon to defend this channel's existence, when all of us will be. What happens if you have 800 subscribers and you make a video every week or every other week about the books that you read in the previous 10 days? And you don't monetize your videos, and you don't tag them, and you don't hire people to run your comments field, and you're not seeking to do collabs with this person, that person, or the other person. What happens to that channel? If YouTube really does move in this direction, why on earth would they supply you with the bandwidth to upload onto their channel when they can make all the money that they need to run their channel, and far more than they need, with its stars? Why would they allow any of us to have the equivalent of community access TV during the equivalent of prime time? Why would they bother to do that? If you're not working with them, if you're not with the program, if you're not hustling to make money on your channel, then in the near future, why would the near future YouTube even want you to upload videos? Why would they let you do it? I'm wondering about these things, and I'm wondering, in terms of my own channel, how I would defend it. How would I make a case for, well, there's something valuable here. It's valuable to me, and it's, I guess, valuable to you. I want to know how you use this channel. Do you use it as background noise? One way or another. The whole subject of this studio in beta has me thinking all of these existential questions. That's got me all uncomfortable. And when I'm uncomfortable at something, I turn on the camera and talk to you. But is that endangered? That very process that the rest of you do too, is that endangered? Are we all being a little naive about the permanence of this platform? Are we all going to have to be looking for a new home to share completely amateur conversational videos with each other in the near future? Is that going to be necessary? I'd love to hear what you think of all this. I would put a playlist down in the information desk, or the information section about the information desk. Well, it was my home for a long time. It was an information desk. I would put a playlist of tour videos so that you know what I'm talking about, but most of the good ones that I've seen have been in Hindi. That's going to limit their use to you. But I want to hear all about it. If those of you who are booktubers, especially, you're going to have to use this studio. Sooner or later, you're going to have to use it. There is an option on it to stick with the classic. But we all know how that goes. That gets phased out. That's for slow adopters. But you don't have that choice in a year. So this is a sort of unfocused video. I mainly want to know those two things. How you use YouTube and how you use this channel in specific. But I'll wrap this up for now. We'll go back to talking about books. Thank you for hearing me out, BookTube.